Hello, you're welcome. You're welcome onto my channel today, and it gives me great joy to observe you viewing this video. I'm Dr. Olayinka Kole. I am a lecturer in the university. I am a sociologist, I'm a researcher, and on this channel I do a number of studies, but all the studies I do on this channel, you can cluster them into four: sociology, research, relationship, and migration. Meanwhile, have you subscribed to this channel? If not, what are you waiting for? Kindly go ahead and click subscribe. Tap subscribe on your screen right now to subscribe to this channel. Today, I want to talk about detachment in research. Detachment in research. This is a very important principle or concept that are mostly not taught in any research institute or any university. Most time they are not taught. So many people don't know about them and and detachment is very important in research. What is detachment? Detachment is the psychological, the mental, the sociological, and the technical decoupling, technical removal of oneself as a researcher from the research setting, research concept, research context, and the problem of study. Let me further break it down. It means mentally, it means psychologically, it means socially, it means technically. The researcher, as a person, is wiring or rewiring him or herself to be dead to the research. What does that mean? That means even though the researcher, for example, a researcher may be studying climate change, effect of climate change, or be studying gender-based violence. Let's assume there is a researcher that is studying gender-based violence has experienced gender-based violence in the past, whether as a man, as a woman. Now you have a researcher that has experienced gender-based violence studying gender-based violence. How will that researcher not become subjective or biased? How will it not become biased to the extent that his or our own preconceived notion, our experiences of gender-based violence, are we going to be sure that will not affect the judgment and the data and the methodology and the findings and the recommendation from that research? So while for example, or a researcher that has just been fired from work is now conducting research into retrenchment in an organization. How are we going to be sure that that researcher will not allow his own sentiment or bias to affect the type of data he's going to collect, the kind of question he's going to ask, this kind of report interpretation analysis and conclusion he's going to reach? Yet, a researcher being a member of that society or that has experienced that problem before, there's something we call positionality. Maybe in the best position based on his experience or network to be able to research into that issue. Yet, that researcher, even though want to conduct that research, must try as much as possible as a professional. Detachment is a professional activity. That researcher must know that his bias, his position as a member or somebody that has experienced that problem must not affect the quality or the nature or the process or the outcome of that research. Research is a professional endeavor. So every researcher, it doesn't matter who you are, what you are doing, you are expected to be detached mentally and physically. And that is very important for social scientists and humanity or people in humanities who conduct research in a society they live in. They conduct research in societies they live. So sometimes most of us researchers study in social sciences or humanities or arts, they are also part of that society in which the researches are conducted. So why, or you start somebody that is a prostitute, want to conduct research into prostitution. We cannot say that person must not conduct the research if she wants or he wants. But that researcher must know about detachment. He must make conscious effort to be sure that he's detached mentally, socially, technically, to reset his or her mind, format previous experiences, or reset to factory setting, to the extent that he's dead to his own sentiment. He's not bothered about what his experience has been. He's just focused on the objective of this research. And research must be objective, Research must not be colored by our preconceived notion, must not be colored by our own assumptions. So detachment is the process whereby a researcher does not allow his preconceived notion or her preconceived notion, our previous experiences or his previous experiences, or his opportunities or his disadvantages or his or her advantages are not allowed to affect the judgment of that researcher, of that research. The researcher just follows a purely empirical, a purely professional approach without allowing his own or her own preconceived or previous experiences, preconceived notion to affect so for example, a researcher that is poor and is studying poverty, or a researcher that is not happy with the government and is studying misgovernance, may be so emotional in the conduct of the research and the interpretation of the research. And before you know it, he or she is not allowing the data to speak. He is the one speaking for the data, instead of allowing the data to speak. Some may even design the methodology in a way that it favors their own preconceived notion. That is not good. That research will be useless. So that's why detachment is very important. And don't forget, detachment is a very important concept. Even you, as a researcher, or anybody as a researcher, must know, you must teach them about detachment and say, detach yourself. It's like decoupling. You must decouple yourself from the research. Allow the research. You can participate. You have to participate as a researcher, but you must mentally and socially and technically be aware that you must not allow your own sentiment, your judgment, to affect the research process and the data and the findings and the recommendation and conclusion. That is detachment for you. Detachment, generally can also be, we can just say it's decoupling, separating oneself mentally from the research process. Even though you are the one conducting the research, your mind is not biased in a way that it affects the work. That's detachment for you. I hope you understand this. It's very important, and I recommend you do it all the time. Kindly tap subscribe on the screen to subscribe to this channel for more wonderful content, and share and give a thumb raise. Till I see you in my next video. Bye for now.